Hello and welcome to the lecture series on Power Electronics 2. In today's lecture we would be looking into the AC to AC regulator, single phase AC to AC regulator, and it would be feeding an RL load. So this is the circuit for a single phase AC regulator. We have got two SCRs in anti-parallel and we have got this RL load, and it is fed from a sinusoidally varying mains supply, and I have symbolically represented it by Vm sin omega t, where Vm is the peak value of the sinusoidal voltage and omega is the angular frequency. So let us try to analyze this circuit. We would first try to find out the expression for the RMS value of the output voltage. You see the average value of the output voltage in case of our AC regulator would be 0. Okay. So when we talk about AC quantities, RMS value is a better representation of or a better way to measure an AC quantity. So let us see. So we have got thyristor T1 and T2, and they are fired at angle alpha and pi plus alpha respectively. Okay. So in this interval from alpha till this point, which is beta, T1 is conducting, while from pi plus alpha to pi plus beta, T2 would be conducting, and none of the SCRs would be conducting in the region beta to pi plus alpha. So we would take up the case when the current through the load is discontinuous in nature. That means it is falling to 0 and remaining at 0 for some time during a cycle. Okay. So from beta to pi plus alpha, the current flowing through the load, which is an RL load, is equal to 0, and definitely it would be depending on the value of beta would be depending on the values of R and L. Okay. So we take the case, we start analyzing by taking the case when the current is discontinuous. So let's start by firing. T1 is fired at alpha. So if T1 is fired at alpha, current will start increasing. It won't be starting from okay, in the previous case when we took R load, the current was starting from here, which was limited by the value of R. Okay. It is not the case here, since we have got an inductive load, so current has to start from 0. Okay. So I would be writing down the expression for the current also, but first let us see, try to obtain the expression for the RMS value of the output voltage. So this is the output voltage. How we are obtaining this voltage? So when T1 is fired at alpha, okay, from 0 to alpha, none of the SCRs T1 and T2 are conducting. No, sorry. Let us start from analysis from the angle alpha, because since we have got inductive load, so current would be flowing from 0 to this point, okay, in the previous from the previous interval. Okay. So let's start from analyzing from angle alpha. Okay. So at alpha, T1 is fired and it starts conducting, and when it starts conducting, then it is as good as a short circuit here. So that means the input voltage will be equal to the output voltage. So VO will be equal to Vin, and this is equal to Vm sin omega t. So that's what I have shown. From alpha till pi, it is Vm sin omega t. What will happen after pi? Now the current, the voltage across the load, it reverses at point omega t equals to pi. Okay, but the current at omega t equals to pi hasn't fallen to 0 yet, and we know that there are two conditions for SCR to turn off. One is that the voltage appearing across it should reverse bias it, and the second condition is that the current flowing through it should cease to flow in ideal case, and in real case it should fall below the holding current value. In this case, at omega t equals to pi, the finite current is flowing through the RL load. So SCR T1 won't turn off at this instant, and current will continue to flow till point omega t equals to beta. At this instant, the current reduces to 0, and as soon as current reduces to 0, T1 stops conducting. That means it is now in open circuit, it is now open. Okay. So this is the voltage in the interval alpha is less than equal to omega t is less than equal to beta. Okay, and from beta to then pi plus alpha, none of the SCRs will conduct. Then similarly at pi plus alpha, T2 is given the firing pulse and it starts conducting, and now VO will again be equal to Vin, and the voltage is in the negative half cycle. So negative half cycle voltage appears across the load. Similarly, the current will also be in the negative half cycle. Okay, and it will start from 0. It won't reduce to 0 at omega t equals to 2 pi, rather it has got some finite value, but it will reduce to 0 at some interval pi plus beta. Okay. Let us try to find out the RMS value of the output voltage. Okay. So we will take up for our ease, we can consider the waveform from this point to this point, from alpha to pi plus alpha. So the time period is 2 pi for this waveform, but since it has got symmetry, so we can consider half of the waveform to obtain the RMS value. Okay. And moreover, we are not taking from 0 to pi, because we could have taken it, no issue with that, but then we have to do integration in 2 steps. Okay, so that's why I am avoiding it. So I am taking a waveform from alpha to pi plus alpha. Okay, fine. So VO RMS is equal to, I am taking the interval as pi, so 1 by pi times, so VO square d omega t, and I am doing the integration from alpha to pi plus alpha, and all of this under square root. So this will give me okay, so 1 by pi times, now integration from alpha to beta will have a value of output voltage as Vm sin omega t. So I am writing here Vm sin omega t whole square d omega t plus, and from beta to pi plus alpha output voltage is 0. You could see here beta from beta to pi plus alpha it is 0 whole to the power half. Okay. Now this is equal to so let me take Vm outside. So Vm square by pi, and I have to integrate sin square omega t alpha to beta sin square omega t. So sin square omega t is 1 minus cos 2 omega t upon 2. Okay, cos 2 omega t upon 2 d omega t, and this entire thing, this vanishes. So this entire thing within the root. So let me do it here. So now this is equal to, so this is 1 from 1. So this is equal to Vm square upon pi. Now so let me take 2 also outside, so it becomes 2 pi, and integration of 1 will give me beta minus alpha, and then minus sin 2 omega t, sorry, cos 2 omega t will result in sin 2 omega t by 2, and limit is from alpha to beta, and this entire thing within the root. Okay. Now this is equal to, so let me take one more bracket here. Okay. So, and I can take Vm by 2 outside the square root. So it will be Vm by root 2 outside. Okay. We are left with 1 by pi, and then the term is beta minus alpha, and this gives me minus of sin beta minus sin 2 beta minus sin 2 alpha by 2. Okay. Entire thing within the root. So finally this is Vm by root 2, and within the bracket we have got, okay, this pi is over the entire thing. So 1 upon pi and beta minus alpha plus sin 2 alpha minus sin 2 beta upon 2, and this entire thing within the root. Okay. Okay, so this is the expression for the RMS value of the output voltage while the current that would be flowing through the load is given by this expression. I have written it down. Okay, and I had derived it in another lecture. You can find out in the description box the link for that lecture, and if you are interested in knowing how this expression is coming, then you can watch that video. Basically it is coming from solving the this circuit, okay, when it is conducting. So basically a sine wave input given to an RL load, that would result in a differential equation, and solving it with some initial condition would result in this. Okay. And the output current is 0 when apart from this duration, from alpha to beta, this is the expression for current, and if omega t is some other value, then it is 0, and this is for one cycle. So you have to add pi to it on both the sides when you are talking of the next cycle, and 2 pi to it or 3 pi to it when you are talking about the higher cycles. Okay. Now let us look into the voltage that would be appearing across the two thyristors T1 and T2. Okay. So when T1 conducts, the voltage appearing across it would be 0, and similarly the voltage appearing across T2 will also be 0 in that case, and vice versa. Okay. So when T1 conducts or T2 conducts, the voltage appearing across both the thyristor would be 0. Okay. So up to here there was current flowing. Okay. So what would be the voltage during this duration when none of the thyristors are conducting? Okay. Let us try to see. I have drawn it till here, sorry, it will be till here. Okay. Fine. So when T1 is not conducting, in this from say this point to this point, so in that case the voltage that would be appearing across T1 would be, let us try to apply KVL, and let me take this loop in this fashion. So minus V in and then plus of VO, and again plus of VT1 will be equal to 0. Okay. So VT1 will be equal to V in minus VO, and since no current is flowing through the output when T1 is not conducting, so VO is 0. So VT1 is equal to V in. So I have to just draw the waveform for equal to V in when none of the SCR is conducting. Similarly here the waveform would look like this, something like this. Okay. So this is for T1 and this is also for T1, and similarly here also. What about T2? So if I apply KVL and take this loop along T2, so it would be a minus here, minus and T2, then VT2 would be minus of V in. So that means I have to draw the waveform just opposite to it. Okay. So this is T2, this is T2, and here also this is T2. I hope it is clear. The voltage that would be appearing across the two thyristors T1 and T2. Fine. The voltage stress is quite important in the sense that when we are going for designing the circuit, so selection of the thyristor would depend on the stress that would be appearing across the SCRs. Okay. So depending on that and the current that is flowing through the SCR, we select thyristor. Okay. So let us stop here. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and if you have any doubt, just post your comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching.